Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for choosing to watch this video. If you are not yet a subscriber, kindly hit the subscribe button. My name is Fisayo Patrick, and in this video I'm going to be talking about 7 things that you must do before building a website for your business. So the regular advice that you will get on the internet is that when you want to start a business or when you have a business idea, build a website, open social media pages, get your product or service ready, and then start selling. But guess what? This advice is wrong. If you have a website for your business and it's not doing anything for you, it's not expanding your bottom line, maybe you are one of the people that took this advice. So in this video, we are going to be talking about the things that you must do before you build your website. And if you have built your website already, it is either if you have the option to redo it, or maybe just take these lessons and look for how you can go on regardless. But before we do that, so I realized that only a few people in my circle or in my network know that I'm a web developer. So anytime people come to me, they actually need my social media services. That's all. They don't talk about website, they don't talk about content creation or any of those things that I do. So whenever I have to tell them that I build websites, they are surprised, and their surprise surprises me as well. Anyway, now you know that I'm a web developer, so I have a lot of beautiful websites that I have built in my arsenal. You can check my portfolio on my website, fisayopatrick.com. Okay, shameless plug is over. Let's go into 7 things that you need to do before building a website for your freelance business or for your one-man digital agency. Number 1, brand yourself. Yes, you heard that right. You need to brand yourself. If you're a freelancer, if you are building a personal, if you're a freelancer, you need to first build your personal brand before you build a website. So when I created my first website, I didn't have a brand, I didn't have a brand voice, I didn't have a message, any of those things were not there, and it really showed. So there were a lot of things that I missed out on, and that experience helped me when I was building my second website, because the first one actually failed. So when I was building my second website, I already had a brand. So you do not want to put the cart before the horse. You want to make sure that you have a personal brand first. And if you've not already started building your personal brand, you must ensure that you already have your elements figured out, you already have your brand voice figured out, your message figured out, and all those physical attributes of a brand. You need to have them figured out first. So your website is not really your business, it's just an aspect of your business. So it is part of your overall visual branding system. So it must naturally flow into everywhere else that you are present, including your social media. It must flow into your marketing materials, your physical materials. If you already are an established business owner, you want to make sure that the branding elements that you are using for your physical product, your letterheaded paper, your physical store, and even your physical books, everything. What I'm saying is you need to have a few things figured out, if not everything, right? So you need to have your logo figured out. You need to have determined your colors. You need to know how you want to speak. So many times when I'm developing websites for clients, I'm always the one that has to figure out what they want to use, what colors they want to use, or what kind of logo they want to use. Sometimes they refer me to the graphic designer who created their logo, and then there's a lot of back and forth because the guy probably doesn't know what it takes to build a logo. Sometimes they give me a logo and it is distorted, it's not in the right format. I realize that people just jump at building websites or jump at creating logos without thinking holistically. So you need to figure out your brand elements. You need to determine your brand elements. You need to get your logo right first. You need to determine the colors you want to use. You need to know your brand voice. You need to know your typography. You need to determine how you want to speak and what you want to say before building a website. Number 2, get your brand photos ready. A lot of people think that this is vain. So you ask them for professionally shot and edited photos, and all they have is the profile pic on their WhatsApp or a picture that they took with their mobile phones. And if you want to build a website, particularly a personal brand website or a website that revolves around an individual, you need professional photos. I take web design as a total package, right? I take web development as a total package. We need to get everything right. For me, it's like we are designing a total brand strategy. If you have a website and you've been able to write beautiful copies on it, but the pictures that you have on it are dull and not professionally taken, your website will not do anything for you. Any web developer can develop a website, right? But it takes a good web developer to consider good brand strategy, which includes brand design, brand photography, and all of those things to build a beautiful website. If all these things are not in place, the website is not going to do much for you. So my advice for you, if you want to start a business, if you want to start a business around yourself or a business brand, whatever it is, ensure that you get a good photographer to take product pictures or to take personal pictures of yourself and then use it on your website. Number 3, determine the objective or the goal of the website. So now let's move away from brand elements and let's talk about other key areas. You need to have a goal for your website. You need to set objectives, you need to set KPIs for your website. When I started to create websites, I didn't ask for goals or objectives or anything. What mattered to me was that you're paying me the amount that I asked for, and I'm getting you, a website. Your website is up in the next few days. That was all I was about when I just started. But then I realized I wasn't helping anybody. It wasn't helping my clients. It wasn't even helping me as a developer. So I started to research. I started to read stuff on Google just to figure out how I could make my web development process better. And then I realized that it was very important to have a goal for your website. That building a website is not just to have something online. There has to be a goal. There has to be something that you want the website to achieve for you. And so I started to include it in the form that I make the clients fill when they book me for websites. So I know that the overall purpose of a website is to get people to find us on search engines. But really, beyond that, what else? When I built my second website, all I did was to talk about myself and talk about the skills that I had and the things that I could do or things that I had done. But then I realized that I actually wanted it to be like a signboard for my services. I wanted people to go there and book me for a particular service. So I changed a lot of things about it. I not only spoke about the things that I could do, I also spoke about how I could help people to do it. I wanted people to go there to hire me for particular services. So I changed the direction of the website. So you need to have a goal for your website. Is it to make more sales? Is it to get people to hire you? Is it to build an online presence? Or is it to get people to find you on search engines? You need to have goals for your website. You need to set objectives and you need to measure your KPIs. Number 4, have a social media presence first. And I know that this is debatable because I have these websites for people and then created social media pages for them simultaneously. But really, I think that it is important to have social media presence first. So depending on the services that you offer and depending on who your target audience is, I think it's good to establish a presence on social media. So do you think it's LinkedIn or do you think it's Instagram? Do you think it's Facebook or Twitter? So I think it's important to start showing up on social media first, whether it's as a personal brand or as a business brand. So tie down your business name or your brand name on the relevant social media channels and start creating valuable content. And be very consistent about it. These days, people will most likely check you first on Instagram before they search for you on Google. And it can be otherwise, it depends. But whichever way it is, you want to be ready. So on the aspect of tying down a name, you also want to tie down a domain name for your business website. So if you have decided what you want to use for your domain name, it's very important for you to buy it, right? To pay for it online. But don't do what most people do. A lot of people will tie down domain names for years, and all they will be doing is to be renewing and renewing without actually building a website. Number 5, have a visual representation of it first. So I remember when a public figure asked me to build this website. Apart from the fact that I trembled throughout the meeting, the first thing that I did was to tell him that I was going to build, a visual representation of this and send it to them. So whatever they want to add, whatever they want to remove, they will be able to do that before the actual website comes up. In web design, this is called wireframe, or you can also call it a screen blueprint. and UI UX designers can do just the right one for you. But for myself, what I do is I just go to Canva, I pick any template, and I begin to drag and drop depending on how I want the website to be. Sometimes I do a rough sketch on paper, and then depending on what I have, I use Canva drag and drop features to build it. If you don't know how to do wireframing or screen blueprint, you can actually go to Canva and pick website templates on Canva and do it however you want it to be. And if you're using WordPress, there are tons and tons of templates or themes for you to use for sale. There are free templates as well. You can get them. But I really like to have a visual representation because I want to determine the direction the website goes. And if it's the same thing for you, then you can totally do that. Number 6, what is the handover process? So sometimes, if someone builds a website for you, you can decide to pay them monthly to help manage it, and if there's anything you want to add or remove, they can help you do that. Or you can just get the login details to your website and do that yourself if you have the skill. So for me, what I do is either of the two. So if they still want a monthly management, I include it in my price. If not, I give them I hand over everything to them. Usually if they have someone in-house that is doing it for them, it's fine. But if you are building a website for your business and you're hiring somebody, it is very important to be clear about it so that they are both on the same page. Do you want them to continue to manage it, or can you manage it yourself? And if you're a website developer, you also want to ask the client if it's either of the two. Finally, use the appropriate platform. There are many website development platforms out there, but my go-to any day, anytime is WordPress. I love WordPress a lot because number 1, you have so many templates to choose from. Number 2, there are plugins to do literally anything to make your website functional. Number 3, you have option to update your blog regularly. So anytime I want to build website for someone, I always let them know the platform that I will use. There's also Squarespace. I tried to use Squarespace a few years ago, but it was really complicated. There's also Wix. There are so many different platforms, but it is important that you use the appropriate platform, the appropriate website development platform. Also, you want to make sure that you are using the right company for your domain and hosting services. Personally, I use Google Host and I've not had issues with them. And it's a Nigerian company, so I think that's for Nigerians. And if you want to use an international company, you can try maybe HostGator or Bluehost. Just make sure that you are using the appropriate platform. So now that you have done all these things, the next thing to do is to start building your website. Now, should you DIY your website or should you give it to a web developer? I would say it depends. For me, I DIY'd my website, and that's because I learned website development. I didn't just watch a few videos on YouTube to start. And if after watching a few videos on YouTube, you can try it out, no problem. But you want to make sure that everything is professional, everything is working fine. If you don't have the right knowledge, if you don't have the right skill, maybe you should hire a professional to do it for you. So that's all I have to say on this topic. If you have web development services that you need, you can just reach out to me on social media. If you have any questions, put it in the comment section. If you have loved this video, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Also follow me on Instagram at FisayoPatrick1. I will see you in the next video.